Hello, I'm Sean. You're watching Hacking Patina. And for those of you who've been following, you know we've done a lot of work on this 58 DJ-3A. And we're not done just yet. We've got a few more things to wrap up on the undercarriage to get it kind of out so we can go for a longer cruise. See how well this girl will actually cruise around on the roads, both two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The wind's out there blowing 57, 16, 9er miles an hour right now, and it's 70 degrees, and it's March in southern Colorado. The snow's melting off, lickety-split everywhere every time we get a little dusting of snow, which we haven't got much. I can count at 5, probably on one hand. That's besides the point. That's a summer issue we're gonna have to deal with here in Colorado, for sure. But let's get back to talking about this girl. In the last episode, we ended up with what we needed to finish up, right? To get the underside of this ready to go out to the road and out to some light trails. I figured today on the list, we've got front brakes, we got exhaust. I don't have the exhaust in order yet. That's getting ordered today. We got some electricals, we got the gauges, the front headlights, and the rear tail lights. Again, a couple things that needs to get ordered today. So let's tackle and finally finish up all 4 brakes on this. What we're going to do, fellas and fellarettes, we're gonna be plugging this front line because my front needs some work. So we're gonna hit that front circuit on this and get it connected up to the wheels and back to the master cylinder. I already got my nickel cad 3/16" brake line we're gonna use. Now, this stuff works really well. It's been working for me. I haven't had any problem. Knock on some wood. But let's go ahead and get digging into this. We'll knock it off the list. That'll be finally. We've been talking about brakes on this forever, right? You guys know. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. And let's dig in. Let's get us a little working space under here. The guy can get his belly and his noggin working around underneath here. Run this over the pumpkin. We're gonna get some bends in it. Nice thing about this is we can do a lot of it by hand. So I'm gonna put in my 90-degree bend in there. Get that taken care of. And then we can kind of go from there. Get that connected in. Then we can form it once we get it connected in. Very nice. Well, how is a guy supposed to get his hand in there? I'll come back and tighten this up. Let's form this around. And I'm going to cut it here. So I formed it around the axle. We got to come in here. We'll leave this stuff loose just so I can kind of get the right length here. Got a little play. Let's go about here. Just in case I make a boo-boo, I got a little bit to work with. All right. I'm going to deburr it. Don't forget, make sure you put on your fitting before we double flare that. We got to deburr it, meaning get the little cut part out of there. I just use this razor. I never did go get the deburring tool. I've showed you guys how I've done these in past videos. It's not the first time you've seen me do this. Done it several times now. But I'll say it one more time. When we crimp this down with this little inexpensive tool, we only go out, we only expose our line the width of our double flare tip. So they line up. The width of that is how much we have extracted out the other side. So when we double flare it, we have just enough material, not too much, not too little, to pretty much make a nice double flare every time. There, we got it fit. We're going to mold it over the line here. We're not going to go full crimp on this yet until we get all the pieces and parts in place. Then we'll really crank down and kind of get those flare fittings set. Don't forget, this has got to rotate up so we can get into this side. Okay, so it's going to kind of be at a little bit of an angle here. We don't really want it to drop below the axle and grab, but we'll fix all that once we get everything formed into place. All we got to do now is get this piece, this little 6-inch, 8-inch piece, figured out. So I'm going to go top side. I'm going to crimp one end, get the length we need, crimp it out there, and then bring it in here and install it. Finally, we're finally making the last brake connection on this Jeep. It's been a long time. I know you guys been waiting for several episodes for brakes to be finally completed. And we are darn near there. At least with the connections. We still got to fill it up, test it. You know, go take it for a little scooter. But let's make this last connection to the master cylinder. We're going into the front circuit here. We'll bend this. That's the nice thing about this nickel cad brake line, is we can bend it with our hands. Get it into place. Sure does beat the old steel stuff. And it's durable. It'll last a long time. You know, some other fella down the road be able to have this stuff in good shape still. Won't be rusted. So, if a fella can get his mitts in this little tight place, we can finish this off. I did tighten up those front wheels. So the brake lines to the front wheels are, those flare fittings, they're tightened up, ready to go. The flare fittings into the junction, those are tight, ready to go. So the only two flare fittings left. The one I'm working on at the master cylinder, and the one that's connecting up by the front junction box. Then we'll go back up topside. We'll add some fluids. Let gravity bleed it a little bit. Because you know, I got my helpers that help come out here and help me bleed. I might have to drag Grandpa out here today. Get him out here. You know, I told you I got in-law visiting. He's here. I'm gonna put him to work. He's gonna squeeze his long legs inside this little cockpit. And he's gonna do what we do. Pump it 5 times, hold, and I release the bleeder. Now, is Grandpa gonna be able to follow those instructions is gonna be the question we're gonna have to ask ourselves. That's gonna be...
He's 82 and has heart trouble.
Yep. Grandpa's 82, has a hard time hearing and a hard time listening to instructions. Straight from the horse's mouth. All right. Well, we did it. We got this cockamamie line ran. We didn't buy the kit. I don't think there is a kit for this setup here, because this looks like it's not what I'm used to seeing on the CJ2 or CJ3. It was run a little different when I took it off, and it's run a little different when I put it back on. So, but you know, it's run, it's terminated. We just might have brakes. All right. Well, we're going to go topside. We're going to add some .4 fluids. We're going to let it gravity bleed for a little bit. So as we did on the back brakes, before we bleed, I'm going to go down there and adjust the eccentric bolts to push those pads all the way against the drums. So this will be fairly firm. It won't be completely solid, but the wheel will be firm. The pads will be firm against the drum. That's going to take as much air out of the circuit as possible initially when we bleed. Then after we bleed it, I'll back those eccentric bolts out and relieve those pads from the drums just enough to where you hear that you just hear the little friction on there. And then that'll be pretty much set on how those pads get set to those drums. So I'm going to go down there. I'm going to adjust those eccentrics. Get these tires to where they really don't move. We're going to remove all the air out of there, and then we'll get these bled. So all we got left is to adjust this rear eccentric and the front eccentric. That's for the rear pad and the front pad on how much friction is up against the drum. So I'm going to take care of now. It's got the nut, and then you tighten up the lock bolt. It's not a science. It seems to be more of an art than a science to do this. All right, we got Grandpa on the seat. He's gonna give the pumping. I'm gonna be underneath opening and closing the bleeder. We're going to work through this. Hopefully we don't have any leaks. I forgot to tighten one, so I already did fix one leak that I forgot. You know, there's 1,500,000 fittings in here. And I missed one of them. Go figure. Anyway, you guys keep an eye on these reservoirs. Make sure they don't go empty on us. And let's get this bled. And I already tightened up those pads. The wheels barely roll. And we're going to see if we get brakes in about 10 minutes. We're going to start from the furthest away from the cylinder. So we're going to be on the passenger side.
3, 4, 5, and hold.
And hold. I'm going to open. And we just relieved. All right, guys, you're not watching the fluid level up here for me. We gotta fill her up. I kind of figured that. Whoops, 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 whoops. Okay. Now, keep an eye on it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold.
All right. Let's fill this back up. Last time. That tube's filling up again. We didn't run it dry. We just ran it low. Okay. All we got left is to go down and adjust those eccentrics. Get those bricks positioned properly without pressure on those pedals. Okay, it's a little tight right now. We don't want to roll down the road. Let me show you where we're at currently. So I got them a little tight while we're bleeding. I'll go make those adjustments and we'll see if this girl's got 4 brakes. The moment of truth. Let's see if we can spin this. Grandpa can hit that brake and this thing, if it rolls to a stop. I got the back wheels on the ground, so I've got the other jacks in use somewhere else. So I'm not gonna be able to lift the whole thing and start it up and give it the, like we did on the rears. We're gonna do it by hand. We'll take it outside soon enough. Ready? So we're gonna spin this up. Let's see if it stops. Go ahead. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ready? Let's try again. Spin, stop. That's what I'm talking about. We finally got brakes, guys. We got this thing, the mechanicals pretty much wrapped up. Little onesie twosies probably here and there. But we're gonna call this good. We'll take it out on the street here in a little bit, probably. Give it a good test. We've got next on the list. We can check off the brakes. Front brakes, done. All right, we got an exhaust pipe on the way in the mail. And we got some electricals. I'm gonna have to be a contortionist again to get up underneath that dash. Reach underneath through the gauges. Now that's a tight fit. I may be taking the seat out to do that work. So we'll work on the gauges next, but for now, we got brakes. We got 4 feet, 4 brakes. So we got some giddy up and we got some whoa. All right, we'll talk to you later.